Welcome to the Bella Vista Gardening Program. I'm Jerry Horner, and joining me today is Brenda Anderson.
Hi.
She's a fellow Benton County Master Gardener, and she's also the currently VP of Administration and President-elect of the Master Gardeners.
Yes.
So you'll be president next year. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And the subject we're talking about today is making glass garden art.
Yes.
And you are an expert at it, for
No,
sure.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, you are. You can see by the things we have here. And there's a variety of ways to use the garden art to spice up your garden. And this is just one of them.
It is.
It's great. And we'll also be discussing upcoming activities, which there aren't very many, and what to do in your garden in July. So first I want to thank our sponsor, Creek's Nursery on McNally Road. They have just been a wonderful sponsor for us, and they have just great hardscape and rocks and plants and trees and just everything you need for your garden, a lot of products too. So, and if you go there and shop, be sure and thank them for sponsoring our show. So, and there's a lot of there's not a lot of gardening activities going on.
No, it's
in
so
July.
hot.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
So you can check with the Crystal Bridges website to see they have some things going on in their garden in the month, and so does the Botanical Garden of the Ozarks. They have some activities, especially for children. They have great children activities, so just check their websites. So, but we do want to talk about making glass garden art, which you have been doing how long?
Just a couple of months.
Oh, you just started doing?
Yeah.
I thought you've been doing this for a while.
No.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Well, you just became an expert
Right, overnight.
Overnight.
It doesn't take long.
So,
What can I tell you?
well, we did want to show some of the things you've made already. The great
The
pieces.
little bluebirds
Oh, they're so pretty.
here. This
You
is
know-
one of the first ones I did. And, you know, collect figurines. Over here, the little sweet little saucer. It has little rosebuds. You can't see it. But you could set a little potted plant on top of this.
Yeah.
The one down here, you could put some bird seed or, you know, some water for the little birds. Here hanging on the bench is actually, you could put that on a stake in your flower beds. I've got some wire twisted on it, and so I'm hanging it from my railing going downstairs.
On your deck. Oh, yeah.
And a teapot that could also go on top of a totem. So what you do is you want to start with a heavy base, like, you know, these dishes. This one's not too heavy, but it's a wide base, and that's where you start.
Okay, so your pieces,
Right.
they could really come out of your cabinet.
Out of your cabinet.
So if they have a little chip on them, you can't
Right.
use it to serve, but you don't want to get rid of it because
Right.
it's from Aunt Mimi.
Right.
You know, you can use it on this.
Right.
It doesn't
Anything
matter if
that's
there's a little-
damaged, even if it has a crack in it, you probably could
Get by with using.
fix it and then go with it. But yeah, heavy base. This square one is a whole lot heavier. But then you
very-
want to get, you know, something that's wide and heavy for the very bottom. And then you just start building up.
You start stacking.
So this is going to be our base today.
Okay.
But first, let me show you. What I'm using is this GE Advanced Clear Silicone Glue. It's for window and door projects. But anyway, that's what you're looking for. This is a 10-ounce tube, and it fits in the 10-ounce caulk gun.
Well, you know, it's so important to use the right glue.
Right, and
Because
this works.
if you don't use the right glue, it will fall
It
apart.
will fall apart, it'll blow over. But these things have been outside for 2 months now in the wind and rain and elements. So they have held up, and I just pick it up basically from the top like that. When I would just pick it right up and carry it around if I needed to.
Yeah.
But on your caulk gun, there is a little hole here in the handle. I learned these things this year. So you stick it in as far as you need to, and you just clip.
I had no idea.
No. And then, here's another thing I learned. There's a little probe, so you can stick the probe in and just
Get it
several times around, and that way that your glue will start.
Or if you haven't used it for a while, that'll clear out that
Yes, it will.
spot.
So,
See, I've used a glue gun before, but I didn't know that these things were even on there.
I'm
So
gonna do
you
it
learn
just
every
a
day.
little bit more so I don't have to take it out of the gun. And anyway, there we go. That's a little bit better exposure. So that's what I'm using. Okay, we're ready.
And then you just
All right,
advance
so
it, right?
then the second piece Jerry has chosen is this beautiful vase that I happened to find at Goodwill. I shop a lot at Goodwills, and here in our area, we have helping hands. And I do find a lot of my larger bottom base pieces there. So I put a healthy supply of glue down, and then I'm going to center this. And if you have an astigmatism like I do, it might be a little off, just saying. And just kind of roll it around. And I might put a little extra around the base of this one because
So
it is very tall.
But that dries clear, right?
It dries clear. It looks a little milky right now, but it will dry clear.
Oh, and
And it takes just 30 minutes to set up.
I should have brought you my little turntable. I have an extra little turntable. A turntable would help.
That would,
You
I
did.
hadn't thought about that,
Yeah,
Jerry.
use a
Thank you.
turntable.
Anyway, so I'm cleaning up my mess. And since this one is so stable at the top, I'm going to continue. Normally, if it was a shorter piece and I was going to put a heavier piece on top, I would let this set up a little bit longer. But then Jerry chose just a plain glass plate. And instead of putting the glue on the plate, I'm going to put it around the rim of piece number 2.
And this will be perfect for my garden. The colors are perfect.
I thought it would be.
So it's beautiful.
After going to the home tour for the garden club.
Oh yeah, we had the garden walk.
And, you know, I got a few ideas. Mm-hmm. All right, again, focus. Well, looks good to me. And then the last piece she chose was this, so she could put water or bird seed or whatever. This time I'm going to put it on the base here.
But anytime you use your glass, you should be sure it's really clean. Because like if the bottom of this had something on it, it
Right.
would stay there forever. So, and these pieces that are turned upside down, you know, like this, you'd make sure that's really clean before you put it together.
And that looks pretty good too. All right, so
That
that
is
just
so
takes 30
cute.
minutes to set up, and
Now
that's
see how
that one.
fast that was.
That was.
Once you pick out your pieces. And like I said, there's so many, you know, garage sales and flea markets. You can find all kinds of things,
Right.
you know.
Can I share some other things with you?
Sure.
This is just a plain old mason jar. And then the lid, I ordered the lid and the fittings. It's a string of lights. It's solar. And so after I glued on these little glass tile mosaics, you can put your string of lights in. Actually, this is not finished. I still need to grout it.
Oh, you're going to grout it?
I'm going to grout it.
Okay.
But it works. It's been outside on the wall also already.
Well, will the light shine through the grout?
No, but it should shine through this glass. I'm going to see. This one was an experiment.
Okay.
I'm trying to develop some
Just different
art
techniques.
for the garden type projects for friends and
Yeah.
Master Gardeners, garden club people to do in their own yards.
That'd be great in the evening, you know,
Yes.
on your patio.
Yes. And then you want to hold up one of those.
We have the,
This is some more yard art, and it used croton leaves is the main leaf that I used in this one. And you just paint it on, and then you press it down and roll it on, and
there it
it's
is.
kind of like a stamp art.
But you could, you know, frame that and put that in your garden.
Yeah. That's
Like
another
this
one with oak leaves and various stuff too.
Well.
So they're just fun. I just like playing. And anytime I have leftover paint from one project, I save it, and that's the paint I start with for the background of the next thing, and that kind of takes me down that beaten road of
Yeah,
what
there's
to
all
do
kinds
next.
of things you can do.
Then I play in just about all the mediums: watercolor, acrylics, oils, and caustics.
But the thing is, these glass pieces, You just can find them everywhere. And then there's
Yeah.
ceramic pieces you can
Right.
use. But you just have to consider how it's going to balance.
Right.
And it's not going to be blown over in the wind. So
No, it's not.
you want the heavy
And
pieces on the bottom.
In fact, this piece, excuse me, or even this piece, if you turn the opening down, you could put it over a stake in the garden.
Right.
So you don't really necessarily have to have a heavy base then.
That's true. I do have a piece of glass art that Beth Castle made for me. And it does have an open bottom, and I have a rebar in my garden, and I just put it over
Yes.
the rebar.
Yes.
So it doesn't blow over.
Rebar is great. So
Yeah.
you could do that. You could.
Yeah.
You could even put a tiny little potted plant or some creeping Jenny, something
Oh,
that
yeah.
flows,
Yeah.
or even larger containers.
Mm-hmm.
To create it for whatever you need.
Right.
Inside, outside, on the patio, out in the elements.
Yeah, and I take mine in for the winter. I do that. I take it and put it in my shed.
Well, I will try to remember to do that.
Yeah. But
We'll
I
see.
just think maybe it'll last longer.
Yeah, it probably will.
Excuse me. So we got the glue and we got that set up.
Yep.
And then we also have these figurines. Now I have a couple figurines that maybe have a chip on them,
Sure.
you know, and you can't really display them in your house, but they'd be so cute on
know,
a piece
something
like
that-
this.
You want to get rid of because it collects so much dust and you're trying to downsize, but it's still so cute. That and the little girl with the blue dress.
Right.
And
They're just darling.
they're just fun to shop for.
Yeah.
Kills time.
Yeah.
Before we go to
Everybody's
lunch.
trying to downsize now. So,
Yeah. So mine's going out in the yard.
Yeah. And then as far as garden art goes, we do have other samples. So while the glue is setting on this, we've got some photos to show of the garden art. The first one we have is an art pole. I haven't seen what's on the screen yet, but it's an art pole that was made. And, you know, you can be really creative in your garden
You can.
and make it personal.
Yeah.
The next one is mushrooms. Now, those were made with pots,
Right.
you know.
You could take, this could be a mushroom on top of maybe even this.
But they had taken a pot and then
Yeah.
turned the other one over it and painted the top, you know.
I've seen those.
So,
They're cute.
And then the next one is ladybugs. Now, my friend has ladybugs painted. She took rocks and painted them as ladybugs, and she has them scattered through her garden. So, but ladybugs could be painted on rock or even a glass
Golf balls.
golf balls, anything that's round. You can paint your ladybugs. And then there's also, the next one is a penny-covered ball. And I don't think it's a bowling ball. I think it's just some kind of a round ball. And they they glued
The pennies, yeah.
pennies around
Yeah.
it. And
I've
it's
seen
really
those.
cute.
A
And
little
I
harder to steal.
yeah.
They're so heavy.
Yeah. And then the next one is a glass-covered ball. They took the glass beads, and I think it's on a bowling ball. I'm not sure, but it looks like it might be a bowling ball.
Yeah,
And that's
probably.
really pretty for your garden. And then the next one is it's glass in the garden. Now this looks like it might be Chihuly glass, I'm thinking. But if you can find some glass pieces, you know, in different places, you can just stick them in the ground around your plants.
Yeah.
And then we had columns. There was some columns made with, I'm not sure if that's concrete or if
Oh, it looks
what
like a
is.
bunch of
Could
twigs,
be twigs,
branches.
twigs. But you could put things together and then a little rock on top, and it looks like a little column. Then they have also glass inside the wood on the next one is just a piece of driftwood.
Right.
And
Those are awesome.
you know, you can find a lot of driftwood on the lakes here.
Yeah.
So that would really be cute to put the glass inside the
Yeah.
wood. And then the next one we have is a rock sculpture. And don't see that on the screen, but it's rocks with holes drilled. And then they took a wire or, you know, and put them together and shaped them. So that's a cute little rock sculpture you
Yeah.
can make.
Yeah.
It would take some time to drill the holes in
yeah.
those rocks. You got to
Yeah.
have the right drill.
Yeah,
So
I
but
probably
that-
would hurt
but that-
myself.
I'd have somebody else do that
Yeah.
for me. So, and then there's meadow flowers. You see the meadow flowers everywhere. They have them at the craft shows. They have them, at the various locations,
Yeah.
garden centers. But the meadow flowers really just add a lot of color. And there's just a variety of projects. This one showed quite a few different things you can do. I can't see it on the screen, but it has a variety of projects you can do, to
Yeah.
add garden art.
Yeah.
And then the next one, I think, is it's a statue, but it looks like wood. I think it's some type of ceramic or whatever, but it looks like it could be wood, a little girl in wood. And but you could put wood
yeah.
sculpture out there too,
Yeah.
as long as it's treated,
Right. Yeah, that would work.
and polyurethane on it
Yes,
to protect
for
it.
sure.
So that would show up well. Now, if you have a lot of room, the next one is a chess set,
Oh,
and it's in the ground, and you can move these big pieces and have a game. But you need a little more room for that.
yeah.
It's pretty big size.
I don't have the room for that.
Yeah. So, and then what I did is I use a lot of turquoise accents in my garden, and the next slide shows quite a few of my turquoise accents that I have around the garden. And as long as you have a color that kind of grabs you here and there, it
Right.
kind of pulls you through the
Right.
garden. So you want to see the next piece that's got that color.
That's right.
So
Good idea.
I got the turquoise all through my garden. And then the next slide is more of my turquoise accents. So I do have the summer, fall, winter, spring statues. I've had them for probably 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And I do try to bring them in the winter to protect them, but
Yeah.
they've aged quite well so
Well, good.
after all these years. So I do have a lot of turquoise accents in the garden. And you can
nice.
do that too with your pots. I know we went to Dawn Denton's house one year as a tour, and she had a lot of things painted a bright blue. So wherever you turned around a corner, there's another bright blue accent, and it just adds so much
Yeah.
uniformity to your garden.
does.
It's not so sporadic. So
Spot
it
of
kind of pulls
interest.
it together.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's a nice spot of interest going
Yeah.
there.
So then you also do this
In,
at home.
at home.
Yeah, you do it at home.
Yep.
And the Master Gardeners, did they use these but then you didn't have them for the plant sale,
I did.
did you?
I did. I took a bunch of these to the plant
Oh, okay.
sale, and I had some of my artwork in a little bin. And I never sign any of my artwork, but I had quite a few people come and get my autograph.
Oh, well, that's nice
So
because they
they're
want to know
sweet.
who made these,
Yeah,
So, but
it's just fun.
it's just fun to have things in your garden that's personal to you, and it just brings joy when you see it. you
It
know.
does. It does.
Instead of just seeing all those weeds you have to pull
Yeah,
and that watering you have to do, because it's just been so dry.
it has.
So this adds a lot of joy to your garden. So, and I love the light thing. We can do a lot of those
Yeah.
ideas with that solar lights. You know,
You could also create a little hanger for it to
right. You hang it in a tree.
from a tree or something.
Yeah,
But it still needs to get the
sun.
sunlight.
Yeah.
That's the only factor
that's
on that
important.
one.
And then I also have, speaking of solar, I have one of those little solar fountains.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if it's in the sun, it squirts up water. And I do put that in my fountain in the front of the house to keep the mosquitoes from
Right. Yeah.
living in there. So that squirt of water keeps that water moving a little bit. So that
does.
does help with the
does.
mosquitoes too. So, and you can also do that in your bird baths. I don't think the birds mind that fountain coming up.
I think they would like it, but I'm
Might
not a
get
bird.
splattered, they swish around in there. But that would be another thing you
Yeah.
can do in your garden. Keep the mosquitoes down. We got to do that. So anyway, well, I thank you so much for
Well,
all this
sure.
information. Now this is going to take a little while to dry, I'm
Right.
sure.
But we can
So,
slide it
It'll
off
be,
and
yeah. And then you also had a base here you were working on just to protect the
Yeah,
table.
just to
So just a piece of cardboard.
Cardboard or plastic or something.
Yeah.
Depends on what surface you're working on. But
You don't want to mess up your
No.
table or whatever. So that is so pretty. I can't wait to put that in my garden. So, and speaking of gardens, there's things we have to do in the garden.
Yep.
You know, with the lack of water, of rain we had in June, it's just been so dry and so hot. And, you know, we're getting close to 100 degrees this coming week. And you just got to keep watering and watering. I was watering last night until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. But you got to water smart. You got to use your drip systems.
Right.
And soaker hoses are great because you can really get that water down to the plants and not just evaporating as it comes out. So, and you want to water early in the morning or in the evening when it's not in the heat of the day. And then you just got to water deeply. You know, you don't want to be out there every day watering. So if you put that soaker hose out and it soaks really well, you can go 2 or 3 days.
Right, you can.
Use your tester,
Right.
you know, your water meter, and just see how dry it is when you get down. You know, it'll tell you how moist the soil is if it needs water.
Right.
So, do you have a drip system? Or
I do. I have, my husband set me up in my raised beds for the garden and then emitters for my flower beds in the back. Yeah.
It's good to have, especially
is.
when it's working. Mine's broken right now, and I'm waiting to get it fixed. So I'm watering by hand for now until I can get my irrigation system fixed. So, but the annuals and herbs, we need a deadhead.
Right.
And remember to water before you fertilize. Now, with this heat, I don't know if I'd be fertilizing very much.
No, I'd
right
probably
now.
hold
Cut
off
it
the next
back.
month. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cut it back.
a couple weeks anyway.
Yeah.
And then just be sure you water before you fertilize so it doesn't burn the roots. And so 2 or 3 inches of mulch really helps too.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So
I like using my mulch.
Brought a whole bunch of mulch home again and going to be remulching. So, and
So
I have to harvest my garlic. So the garlic, it finally the leaves turn brown. But usually it's mid-June.
yeah,
But it's been a little later.
I did mine 2 weeks ago.
Did you? Yeah.
And my onions, I wasn't pleased with that crop, but it was something new that I did this year. But they're harvested, so now I have room to plant some more
things.
cucumbers
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
The neighbors like the cucumbers.
Well, you plant them, you got to share them.
I do.
That's
I
true.
do.
Okay.
So, and perennials.
Yeah.
I love perennials.
I do too.
And that's my main source of flowers in my yard. But you need to pinch back any kind of mums that you might have growing, and you need to do it before or by July 15th.
Yeah, then you can stop cutting it back.
And then, you know, as the flowers decrease or die off, be sure to deadhead. It means cut them back.
A lot of them rebloom.
Yeah,
if you do
they
that.
do. They do. So,
Yeah. And then lawns, the lawns just require deep watering. They need at least 1 inch a week of good water. But with this weather, they may need more than once a week, maybe every 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I would think so.
And then if you raise your mower blades, that'll give it a little more shade. It won't dry out as fast.
Right,
So I'd raise the blades. And don't fertilize your lawns
no. And I would
during July
add,
and August.
when you do mow, think about those mower blades. They do need to be sharpened.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, sometimes you kind of forget about that little issue, but if they're not sharp, you're not going to have a pretty
No,
lawn.
it's just all jagged
Yes.
cuts. Yeah, you got to have a sharp
Yeah.
blade.
And I don't know about you, but I've got roses, a few roses, but, you know, the aphids and the fungus, the black mold
I
and
have black
stuff.
spot.
So, you know, take notice of it, treat it, whatever you have to do. But, and the Japanese beetles.
I've only seen a few. I've heard that there's quite a few out there.
I saw
only seen
about
few.
a cluster of them on one of my climbing roses the other day, and I just
Yeah.
threw a fit. So,
Yeah, I just take my rubber glove and I take them and squish them. I don't use sprays usually.
no, I don't use sprays either. I collect.
Just kill them.
Yeah.
You know. And then trees and shrubs. Okay, you got to check your evergreens for scale and bagworms and webworms. Now, I haven't seen too many webworms yet. It's a little early for webworms. But if you have bagworms, those are little brown worms in a little bag,
Right.
about this big. If
Kinda
you
like
have
a-
them, just take them. You have
Yeah.
to pick them off your plant and put them in a bucket and burn them.
Right.
That's the only thing you can do with them, but you have to get them off the plant because once they're on there, they're going to multiply and maybe go to another plant.
They will.
So they usually like evergreens more than anything else. So
They do. When we lived in Omaha, we had quite a few Colorado spruce, and they really did like them. And you know, there was a point where I could not reach them
Yeah.
anymore, so I had to hire a tree service to come and spray. And it was a quarterly spray that
Yeah.
they did for us. So.
yeah, you just
They
hate
were
to
not
do
nice.
that. So
Yeah.
it's a nasty, nasty
Yeah.
worm.
So
And,
we've got vegetables happening now.
Yeah, we do.
We
A
do.
lot of tomatoes.
So-
but you might have some cracks in those tomatoes
You're right.
come the heat.
So from the heat and inconsistent watering. If you water one day and then kind of skip a day or two, you might develop some cracks in those
Yeah.
tomatoes.
but they're still good to eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can work around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you see something and it's close to harvesting and you know you're going to be gone out of town or something, go ahead and pick it because you know those squash and zucchini, they can grow a foot overnight.
Yeah, they can, right.
And then it's going to be a
And
little
usually
too
do.
tough.
Yeah, they usually do. And then you can share them with neighbors and
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
So, okay. And if you have any other questions about gardening in July, remember the Master Gardeners has a great website, and
Right.
it's Benton County Gardening.org.
Right.
And so it'll just tell you everything you need to know. And then also the Bella Vista Garden Club has a great website with a lot of gardening information.
Well, and both of us, the Garden Club and Master Gardeners, we also have Facebook pages.
Yes, we do.
And there's a lot of information on there, and you know, you can contact us and find out what's
you
happening.
don't have to be a member
No.
or a Master Gardener
No.
to join the Facebook page.
Right.
And we've gotten, and I know in the Garden Club, we've gotten quite a few members who've joined because they saw that Facebook
Yeah.
page and
Yeah.
all the good information. And it's
a good
just-
tool.
It's a wonderful tool. I'm used to the website because that's my thing is websites. I don't do Facebook much, but Facebook has just taken off.
Yeah, it has.
Because you can show so much information real quickly, you know, update things quickly.
Yep.
Just like when we had the plant sale this year and we had to cancel it or
Right,
delay it or
right.
whatever, it got out there right away.
Right, it
so
does.
information's out there at your fingertips.
It is.
So, and then we're not going to have any meetings with the Garden Club till September, but the Master Gardener meets
Right.
all year round.
Right.
Now, anybody can come to a Master Gardener meeting.
Yes.
It's open to the public.
Open to the public. You are always welcome. We have a social time at 5:30, and then the meeting. We always have a program at the start of the meeting, which starts at 6, and we do live stream it. So if you follow our Facebook page, you can click on that link and watch the program if you're unable to attend in person. So that's
And
been
that's
a
held
benefit.
the first Tuesday of the
Yes,
month
ma'am.
at 6 o'clock at the Church of Christ
in Bentonville.
in Bentonville. It's right across from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
That's how I find it.
Yeah, just off of, right there on Walton.
Yeah, it's in the back lodge building.
Right.
It's a beautiful
It is.
building.
It is.
A nice facility. So, but you know, anytime you can either come to the meeting
Right.
or stream it, you know,
Right.
it's great information. The
Something
programs.
new that we started this year is at one of our sanctioned project sites at Helping Hands off of 28th Street. We've started doing some educational events.
Right.
And those have been a big success, and we're gaining people that are interested in becoming master gardeners. You know, just people that have no clue what to do, or how
Right.
to start. And we're just anxious to help them learn some things. So the next few months, we're going to take off because it's just so hot. But we'll start back with the education in September, I think.
Yeah.
So,
And there's so many people that have moved to the area from another area, they don't know what to do with these
Right.
rocks in Bella
No.
Vista and, you know, this soil,
Yeah.
which we don't have much of. So it's a great way to learn
Yeah, it
how to
is.
garden in this area for
It is.
those people. And then you also do the farmers markets.
yeah, we do.
Master Gardener does the farmers markets in various areas, and that's on the Facebook page.
Right.
You know, so you can keep it up to date. So, but just, you know, whenever you see an activity you think you want to attend, just come
That's
on
right.
and attend.
Just show up,
Yeah,
and
that's
we'll
the purpose of Master Gardeners
right.
is to share
That's
share
right.
knowledge.
That's right.
So- Okay. So the main thing to do in July, I guess, is water, 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 and try to stay cool.
Right.
You can't be out there in the heat of the
No.
day. It's just too dangerous.
Stay hydrated.
Yes, you do. And anyway, enjoy the longer days now, because the days are getting shorter as
Yeah,
we go
I
through
know.
the season. I always say July 4th is like, that's the end of summer. It's almost over. In a blink, it's going to be fall. But July 4th is like a drop-off cliff for me.
Yeah,
It
it is.
So anyway, thank you, Brenda, for coming and
thank
showing
you.
us this wonderful
It was fun.
garden art and how we can create it.
Come join me at the house. We'll play.
Yeah, okay. And then I hope you've enjoyed the show and will join us next month. And until then, don't forget to stop and smell the roses.